G'day everyone, welcome back to the Lost Eternal, the action RPG podcast. We talk all things Lost Ark, Lineage Eternal, Diablos, and everything in between. You guys know what it's all about. Today's episode is going to be featuring Lost Ark and Diablo 3. I'm pretty hyped about this episode because we have got some movement in Lost Ark, some actual news that we're going to be breaking in this episode. It's not a lot, but it's something anyway. So let's just forget the formals and jump straight into it as usual. So yesterday I checked out the updates for Nvidia and guess what game showed up? Lost Ark. So yes guys, the July 6th driver updates for Nvidia showcased Lost Ark in the description in the SLI driver updates. Now what's interesting about this is that it focuses on DirectX 9. So what this actually means is, well, it could mean that the developers are starting to work with Nvidia on getting the game optimized with their stuff. So this tends to happen when a game's fairly on in its progress. You can Google it to death and try and go into more details around it, but that's just straight up it. So let's talk about the DirectX 9 topic. If you are curious about DirectX 9, another game that runs off something very similar is Diablo 3. So if you guys didn't know, Diablo 3 uses a custom 3D game engine, as in they built it there. I believe they might use some shell of some other stuff and then customize it for their own purposes, but they definitely put a lot of work in their own engines. So here's the cool thing about this. When they were developing D3, they wanted the game to look better than what was already out there. Now, if they want to do that, they also have to weigh up their other goals of, classic Blizzard reaching as many people as possible. And that means optimizing for computers that might not have as much power as, the modern day computers that we have. The way that they actually achieved this was going through DirectX 9. And if you're unsure, Diablo 3 doesn't obviously require DirectX 10. So we see some similarities here with Lost Ark working with Nvidia in the recent update. So what they essentially did in D3 is they wanted to utilize the 3D environments as well as, stuff like monsters crawling up the walls. They wanted it to look good, but also perform on lots of PCs. So this is really good news, guys, for Lost Ark. It's another step forward into, the game getting closer and closer. So I just wanted to address this because this has come up a few times. A lot of people are concerned about, if they can run Lost Ark. Obviously, the two factors is your internet connection, but mainly graphics. This leads me to believe that if you can run Diablo 3 right now, then there's a pretty good chance that Lost Ark's going to be able to perform just as good, noting that they are, not going too crazy with the graphics. So this is exciting stuff. The other factor is the internet connections and servers. That's a whole different ballpark, especially for people like myself in Australia who, we got the plebeian internet. Anyway, exciting stuff, guys. A little bit more on Lost Ark. We know that the 7 classes that have already been revealed, and the fact that they are obviously teaming up with Nvidia, there's a lot of classes that haven't been revealed yet. And what most of you don't know is we're kind of expecting 11 more classes. So it's not like, D3 where there's just a handful. They're really going all out. This is supposed to be a total of 18 based on some of the art that they've released. There's a Reaper character in there that looks like a Chinese inspired character as well. Yeah, I guess that we can kind of look forward to some more class reveals in the future. There's some really big gaming events happening quite soon. Well, in this last half of the year, I really feel like it's kind of getting to that time when, they might start rolling things out. Okay, so let's talk about Diablo 3. In case you guys missed out on my recent Diablo video, I talked about how Blizzard essentially is hiring a new game director. Now, this is really important because, getting a game director into Blizzard Entertainment to work on a Diablo game right now is a really odd choice, especially with the other staff that they have been hiring. It looks like they are working on something new. Now, if they're working on something new, then it kind of feels like for me that they've obviously got a project that's either finished or they're working on the final touches now, because that's kind of just how they happen. They're not going to hire, 5, 6 new staff to work on a project that's already 3/4 of the way through. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I feel like it's more viable that they are working on a new game. Now, one of you guys actually commented in and told me that Riker, out of all people, made a video on this. So Riker's another YouTuber, by the way. Go and check his channel out. He's exclusive Diablo 3 stuff, and he's pretty thorough with his content, and he's got his finger on the pulse as well. He made a video around the same topic, and it's interesting because we have slightly different views on the direction of what this means with a new game director. So he goes on to talk about, we've lost a lot of key players in the Diablo staff, and it's definitely true. A lot of the original designers that made the game what it is today have gone. I won't go on too much about his video. Go and watch it for yourselves, guys. It's worth watching, but he talks about, or he proposes a chance that they might be working on a completely new Diablo game altogether. Could be Diablo 4 or something in the Diablo world that is different. This is kind of scary stuff. At the same time, if you don't know, Blizzard acquired King Entertainment, which make mobile games. Candy Crush. They're the top studio making mobile games right now. If they've acquired King Entertainment, they've clearly got the capabilities to bring out mobile games. And if they're going to take Diablo down that path, that's an extremely scary proposition for myself, and I'm assuming for quite a lot of you guys. Now, I feel like Blizzard has a strong enough intuition to know that bringing out a Diablo 3 mobile game will most likely hurt the franchise more than help it, but there's definitely a lot of money in it. So I honestly don't think that they're going to be going down the mobile path, but you just wouldn't put it past it these days on how lucrative this area is. And I think if they did do this, they could make a really fun Diablo mobile game. But at the same time, it's like, well, I'd much rather see them focus on the PC and even the console versions more so than bringing out a mobile game. Like, there's just so much stuff that I would love to see in Diablo 3 in the future. Now, what I've noticed as well, and just a trigger warning, guys, this is just an opinion, it's just a hypothetical situation, but what I've noticed is when competitors like Path of Exile and, other games, big games that get launched, I tend to find that Blizzard will bring out a Diablo update or a World of Warcraft update around about the exact same time. A few occasions for myself, I've kind of thought, maybe this wasn't a coincidence that there's a, brand new Path of Exile massive update and Blizzard hasn't released something in ages, and all of a sudden 2 weeks later, they're bringing something out the day before or 2 days after. It's happened quite a few times, guys, and, obviously it'd be in their interest to be competitive. I'm not saying that this is actually happening, but this is something that I have noticed coincidentally every now and then. I wonder if these guys know about Lost Ark and Lineage Eternal. They surely have to know about these other games, and I feel like, maybe they are gearing up to compete with them in a sense that, obviously Diablo 3 is a genre leader and, the top dog. In other words, like, the World of Warcraft of MMOs. There's not a lot underneath it. The closest thing to it is Path of Exile in terms of size and mainstream success. I'm going to throw it out there and say, let's just wait and see if we get a simultaneous release or some kind of competitive propositions from Diablo if Lost Ark has released it. So let me try to word that a little bit better. If Lost Ark gets a release date and then Diablo 3 gets a release date at the same time or around about the same time, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see that. So also a little while ago, Grim Dawn reached 500,000 copies sold. Just want to throw that in the episode and just say congratulations to those guys for, small indie studio for selling 500,000 copies in an action RPG. That's amazing stuff. So congrats to those guys. But alrighty guys, so lastly I wanted to talk about why there wasn't a Lost Eternal episode in quite some time and what can you expect in the future. It's really simple, guys. There was pretty much nothing happening in the action RPG world. I don't want to make episodes out of thin air. There has to be some kind of substance, and like today's episode, this is fantastic. Lost Ark showing up on the Nvidia drivers, new game director for Diablo 3. This is the stuff I want to talk about, not following Smilegate on the stock exchange and seeing how they're maneuvering and, trying to tie that into Lost Ark and blah, 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 blah. You guys know what I mean. So for your expectations for the next episode, I recommend stay subscribed, guys, if you are just in it for the Lost Ark news, because, when new stuff does come up, I'll definitely be there. So I recommend that you add me on Twitter, because I'll announce the episode probably a day or two before when I'm actually recording the next one. So I'll put a link in the description below. So my Twitter's pretty, let's just use a nice word, intimate at the moment. It's pretty short, so you can ask me questions and there's a 95% chance I'll probably reply back to you guys as well. I'll be doing little videos and that kind of stuff, updates and that over there. So add me on there. Thanks for watching as always. Catch ya.